Hello, this is the last video for the month of August in my do's and don'ts series of homeschooling, and this one is going to be all about family, so friends and family. Do tell your family about your decision to homeschool, but don't let their response impact your decision at all. Homeschooling is a very big deal. It's a huge decision to make, and I'm sure if you're deciding to homeschool that you have spent lots of time writing out reasons why. Maybe you have like a pros and cons list, maybe you've done a lot of prayer, maybe you've even fasted. There are lots of things that go into making that decision, and I don't want you to let other people have an input on that decision that you've made for your family, because they may or may not understand exactly what homeschooling entails. So do share what you're excited about for homeschooling with your friends and your family. Have your kids tell them that they're going to be homeschooled. I'm sure your kids are going to be super excited to be able to sleep in, do school at home, have play dates. Make it exciting. Make it something that you are blessed that you are able to provide for your family. Invite your friends and family in. If you have a co-op, invite them to like a visitor's day. Invite them to be part of a project. If you have someone in your family that has a specific skill set and you're trying to teach something that can be connected, invite them in as a guest speaker, or take a field trip to their work or their house where they can kind of teach your kids. It's always fun for kids to learn from other family members or other friends a different skill, and to actually see it happening with an adult. The things that you're teaching them are actually important and actually necessary for adult life. So that's always fun when you can involve them as part of your schooling and take advantage of the flexibility of homeschooling. Maybe you have a writing assignment and you happen to have an English professor in your family, or maybe you want to have your writing assignment be that they write a letter to a friend or a family member, something that really draws them in and brings them into the goodness of homeschooling. Answer questions that they have when you feel like it. When you feel like it. If you don't feel like answering the question, say, I don't feel like talking about that right now, or that's a conversation for another time, or why don't we talk about that on the phone? Especially if it's something that is in a negative way at all. You don't want your kids to pick up on any negativity from friends or family about your decision to homeschool. So if they're kind of getting the negative vibe, that's definitely a conversation that you want to have without your kids around. And maybe you need to verbalize that to them. Hey, I'd love to explain to you at another time when you have my full attention, or when the kids are doing something else. So if you don't feel like answering the question, or you feel like it's going to cause some problems, maybe get some people heated, you don't have to answer it. Just because someone asks you a question does not mean you have to answer it. Don't feel like you have to answer every single question, because some people are like drill sergeants or like machine guns, like spitting one question after another after another after another. You don't have to do that. Just answer the ones that you feel like answering. And the last one on the do is to set boundaries for appropriate behavior. It burns me up when people feel like they are entitled, or they have the ability to pop quiz children who are homeschooled to test them to see if they are at whatever level they think they should be, to make sure they're learning. Set boundaries. Make sure you're very clear. Be respectful, but be firm. Pop quizzes to see if they're learning are not okay. If you want to ask them what they're learning, that is very different. But a pop quiz of something that you think they should know is puts a lot of pressure on the child. It undermines the parent, and it can just cause harm in the relationship. So some people need that very specifically laid out for them. Some people know not to do it. Some people just need to be told that that's not okay. So if you have a friend or a family member who every time you get together, they start drilling your kids on specific things, maybe you need to pull them aside and have a little conversation about what's appropriate and what's not. And then if they are unwilling to meet your boundaries, then maybe you need to pray about setting even more boundaries in place with them and your children, because ultimately You are guarding your children's future and their hearts as a parent, and you want to make sure that you are doing the best job that you can to set them up for success. And if you have someone who's always a Debbie Downer about homeschooling, that's going to plant lots of seeds of doubt in their little hearts, and you don't want that. So set boundaries, but make it something that they can be involved in if at all possible, and make it a positive. You want it positive, right? You want the kids to be excited. You want your family to be excited. Make it positive, but tell them. Don't try and keep it a secret. I don't know if you've been around kids for like a hot minute, but they're not real great with secrets. So you want to make sure that you tell them and don't try and keep it a secret. Don't let their responses influence or impact your decision, though. Well-meaning people can say the dumbest things, for real. If you have any conversation with a pregnant woman, I'm pretty sure she's going to be able to tell you several things that well-meaning people have said to her. Or if you have someone who struggles with a chronic illness, I'm sure there are plenty of well-meaning people that have said really hurtful things. So I have a whole video I did on comments and questions from the public, so I'll link that in the description for your enjoyment later. Don't answer any questions that you don't want to. I said that on the other part of this video, but I just want to reiterate that. If you are uncomfortable with a question, or if you think it's going to lead the conversation in a way that you don't want to go with your kids, don't answer it. Just tell them in a respectful way that you don't feel like answering it. You're going to do it at a different time. However you want to word that, you don't have to answer all of their questions. You also don't have to explain to them. You do not have to explain to them what you're doing. You do not have to explain to them the path that you have created for your child's future. If your child is in pre-K, there's no reason to be thinking about calculus in college. None. You're just focusing on teaching them to read and their letters and the colors and all of the things that go with pre-K and fun activities, right? You don't have to explain to your friends and family. If you know what you're doing and you are comfortable and you've prayed about it, have confidence in that, you do not need their stamp of approval to go on. Also, don't let anyone undermine you as a parent. This one can be tricky, especially for well-meaning friends and family. Sometimes they do it unintentionally. Sometimes it is intentional, but sometimes it's unintentional. So just be aware of that and be ready to have a private conversation with them if necessary, if it's something that happens often. If you are making the decision to homeschool and you've set different things in place and then they kind of go behind your back and do some things, or maybe they ask your kids if they want to be homeschooled or if they want to go to school, public school. There's lots of like sticky situations that can come from that. So don't let them undermine you. Don't let them tell you what to do or how to homeschool. They can offer their opinion and their feedback, and you can do with that as you will. Also, don't let them put your kids on the spot. Like I said in my other video, setting boundaries, no pop quizzes. Don't make your kids feel like they have to prove to someone that they are smart enough, that homeschooling has made them smart enough. Don't do that. Don't do that to your kids. Don't do that to yourself. And don't allow someone in your inner circle to feel that they can do that to your kids. It puts an immense amount of pressure on them, and it can even start to plant seeds of doubt in your heart as a mom. Am I doing it right? Should I be doing it this way? It's just better to just don't even go there. Again, you want to involve them in things that you're doing with the homeschool, if at all possible, in a positive light. If they're starting to grill your kids and drill them as soon as they interact, maybe that's a sidebar conversation you need to have with them in private. Set some boundaries, lay it out for them, right? You are the gatekeeper of your home. You are the mom or the dad that is responsible for shaping these little sweet kids into the people that they are to be for the kingdom of God. And if there are things that are in your way, things that are preventing you from doing the job that you have, you need to take care of them. Do tell your family about your decision to homeschool, but don't let their reaction impact your decision at all. I hope these videos have been helpful. I had fun kind of coming up with all the different categories. We've been homeschooling for, wow, six years if you really count pre-K. So this will be my 6th year homeschooling if you count pre-K that we did. So I have learned some of these the hard way and some of these through my friends who have shared some stories with me. So hopefully this was helpful. If I have some that I missed, please feel free to drop them in the comments. If you have your own do and don't version, I'd love to read those too. And I hope this gave you some value. This whole series was fun.